Hello, welcome back. So today I wanted to go through a little more Tetris, and we actually have some pull requests to look at. So that's great, and that's exactly what I wanted to cover today. Was actually looking at some pull requests. How do we, when you're on the receiving end of these pull requests, how do we look at, um, some of this stuff and figure out if it's good, if it's not? How can we leave comments? Lots of really interesting things. So it looks like we have two contributors with two commits. So this one's from Eric87, and the other one is from A Doyle 2014. And so that's great. We've got some contributors, and we can take a look at some of this stuff. So the first thing is the conversation, and this is where, as a you can basically have a conversation about the pull request and really decide whether you can talk about why. Why do you want to add this feature? Or, oh well, I would pull this in if it had this extra little thing that it's missing. Or you can also ask questions like, this looks really interesting, I just don't see where it works. And then they can comment back and say, oh well, I had this thought, and you go, oh, that clears it up, and it's great. So the comment here was that he added a new game pause title. I guess he added like a new game button, a pause button, and then I guess a title or something like that. Height and width of the field are dynamically set. Lord knows we needed that. What I noticed was I scale down this screen that I do all these videos on to basically 720p, but usually it's at 1080. And when I pulled up the Tetris site one time in 1080, it was horrendous. It didn't look anything like in these videos. It was absolutely terrible to look at. So yeah, it needed to definitely be to be dynamic, and because it looked fine on my screen, but anybody that opened it up, I'm sure it looked like crap. So yeah. Other things, apparently keystrokes work on key down instead of key up to be more in line with Tetris. Cool. So let's take a look at this. So the first thing you can see is the first tab, or the second tab, is the commits, and you can see the commit numbers. So if you click on these, it'll take you to a comparison of just that commit and just this commit, and basically see, like, if you wanted to see them individually. You can basically copy the full SHA to your clipboard here if you wanted to do things in the command line on your computer. So Git works off of these SHA things, and these are kind of like the commit numbers. So people coming from other source controls, that's kind of how they work. Like, there's no commit numbers, they're just these unique identifiers, and that's everything in Git is one of these. And then here you can actually browse the repository at this point in the history. So you can click on that, and it actually takes you to an exact copy of what that commit looks like inside GitHub. So that can be very helpful too. Up here there's a little bit of statistics. There was 103 additions and 30 subtractions, and they're talking about lines. So there's been 103 lines added and 30 lines removed. And some of those could be overlapping as well. So sometimes it's good to see, because you can see, okay, this was mostly additive. There were added things versus mostly destructive, where you removed a lot of things. And then really the important one is here. Okay, so here, let's see. I guess the .git or the .idea folder that my IDE gives out, I guess that was being added. So here on the left is what we have, and here on the right it added a new line. Okay. And here on the right is what, so this is mine, and this is theirs. So one of the things we can see here is there was added a background color and an overflow hidden. That looks pretty good. Great. Then they removed margin auto 30% and added width 100% and height 100%. which, well, I guess we already had that, but margin 0. Some other CSS changes here. They all look pretty good. Taking off the border, dotted black. What are we were? Maybe just it's removing the borders altogether. I mean, borders were more for us to at least, to kind of like visualize some of that stuff, or maybe he's added that somewhere else. Looks like we have a new intro ID, some styling for an H1, some button styling, and I guess a pause button or something. So the next thing, there's been some stuff added to the wrapper. So there's new chops blocks. That's a good, that's a funny name. I'll go with that for now. So it looks like there's a new game button and a pause game button that has been added. Cool. Then inside the engine, we now have tick equals function. So he's declaring the variables up here, and then he's setting them here, which it's really just a different style. Is this really going to change anything? Is this really going to make things different? No. It's more just a different style of the same thing. Well, I do see that this was needed. Obviously, if you're doing a set interval and then you want to pause it, you're going to need to capture that interval ID. So obviously this was completely necessary. This, I think, is just, these are completely equivalent, and I think it's, just a stylistic change. So I'm okay with this. This is fine. Let's see, what else do we have here? We have a new, I guess this is the new button click. Then we want to change the box to, I guess, blank out the HTML in the box, make it disappear, and then I don't know if has this been tested? I'm kind of scared that this isn't quite working. I also don't see a line close. Oh, wait. I'm confused. Here's the close for this, and this is the close for this function. So he's defining the function. Okay, well then yes. Alright, sorry. I do see now. If you're putting this, if you're putting basically this function inside of a function and you want it to be available outside of the function, then it definitely does need to be placed onto a variable that's global so that it can be used elsewhere. So this, yes, this is needed, doing this way, since it's now inside of an on-click handler. So that makes sense then. Okay, so board equals new board, and we're setting box. Yeah, and when we call new board, it regenerates a box. Cool, I remember that. And then we have block move counter, which we had that before. And then auto block move, cool. And then we're doing our, it now has a clear interval, which I guess that just gets called immediately, and board blocks equals that. So it's kind of a reset thing, I think. Okay. And then we have what? If pause, block, find div pause, and remove. Interval ID equals set interval tick. Box append, clear interval. If paused. Okay, so when you click on the pause button, it either pauses or restarts. So this is the restart, this is the pause. Cool. Then document on, he changed key up to key down, which is cool. And then he added, looks like this is kind of that auto layout stuff, auto setting the height and width, so that's good as well. Cool, good changes. He added a space here, and then here we have, looks like some changes to the unit tests. I don't know if they actually changed. Um, board. Oh, yeah. Collision. Yeah, I never changed that once I changed the method name, so that's good. Okay. So all in all, I think this is good, and I want to go and change this. So I just want to show this real quick. What you can do is, like, if you find something on a specific line, you can click this plus button, and then you can leave a comment here. And basically, it copies the comment. It copies the line and lines around it, and places the comment, and basically moves them over here into the discussion, where you can actually see the discussion or see it in the discussion, and you guys can talk about that particular line or things like that. So that's very, very useful. Just want to see what this one did. Okay. All right. So all in all, I think this pull request looks good, and I'm ready to merge it in. So since I am a contributor, or well, the owner for this, I can just click merge pull request, and I can you know make a better comment if I wanted. That's good enough though, and we pulled that right into master. And then since we have it on master and we want to actually see the changes, um, we can pull it down to our dev environment, or I can just merge it over to GitHub Pages. So I'll just show doing that on here. If you want to move something to the GH Pages branch, you do it through a pull request within your own project. So you go master to GH Pages, and then you create a pull request for that, and then you have to give it some sort of title. So updating GH Pages, and then you create the pull request, and it brings you back to this same thing where you can review all the changes. But since I created this and I've already looked through the changes, I'm good. So I can just merge the pull request. It updates, and then I should be able to just go to the URL and see the changes. It may take a minute to... So here's the new look. So we say new game. Cool. So this is definitely an improvement, and it's really it's really starting to come together. Look at this is starting to look like a nice little project here. And what I want to see is, I don't remember seeing any code updates to the collision, which no, there's not. So there's still some stuff to do with the collision stuff, but otherwise this is looking really good. I'm actually really happy with. I guess that rotation's not too bad. It kind of looks more natural now that we're actually here. It's still, I still wonder if there's a better way, but that actually looks pretty much like real Tetris, I think. So that's pretty good. I think we're doing pretty well here. It's almost a playable game. Sorry, I was just sitting here playing. Okay, so obviously that's not going to work. It's just going to fall right through. Okay. Well, let's test the pause. I like that. It stops moving, it puts a little overlay on it, and then I can unpause. So one of the things I'd like is, obviously it says pause, and then it should switch to like resume. So definitely some stuff we can do there. But yeah, this is looking good. So yeah, this episode I wanted to go over kind of the pull request process from the receiver side, and how we how when you're working in a repository and you have contributors that are helping you with your project, you when they're helping you with your project, you can you have to manage some of their stuff. So that's an interesting bug. So still a little bit of responsiveness that needs to be done, because that's obviously not the intended result. But otherwise, again, the improvements to this are really starting to make it look like a real game. So I'm really happy with this, and I'd love to continue seeing this grow. We're going to take this all the way. I've got some really good things in store for this project, that I'd really like to show off. So I'm excited about it, and I'm glad that I'm doing these, and I'm glad that you all are interested. And I'd love to see more pull requests. Please do more pull requests. Help make this thing better. Put your special touch on this. I mean, look at what this one person did. They added a bunch of coloring and background and a little bit of shadow to these letters, and it looks like a completely different thing. It looks so much better. They removed the grid lines. It looks amazing. So please come in, contribute, help this thing be better. That's how development goes. All right. Well, I had a lot of fun, and I will talk to you guys next time.